We're going to talk about double exposure photography today. Going to get artsy by combining two images together. Now, the shots that you're going to want to try to capture are something called high key images. That means that they're really, really white. So if you're shooting in aperture mode, you would probably want to take your exposure compensation up to like +2, so you get a really white image, just like this. Here's an example of a portrait with a really, really white background. Um, Here's another one of a tree that is really white because you've taken it with exposure compensation cranked to a +2, and you've got that kind of background. The location for getting this, shoot if you can shoot low and shoot against the sky, so that with a high key exposure compensation, that is probably your best bet for getting that kind of white background. The white background is going to be key for the success of your image. All right, so you need a portrait of someone with a white background, and you need some sort of other detail. All right, whether it's a tree, clouds, detail. It could be any kind of like interesting textured detail. It could even be like the engine of a car. All right, so those two images you're going to combine together. All right, now you might have come back from your shoot and you come back with this. Say this is your high key image, and you're like, oh well, shoot, like I've got, it's pretty high, but I can see stuff in the background. I'm going to show you a quick step for how to actually make it white. All right, so that it's a fairly simple process. All right, that does a pretty good job for the purpose of this. So I'm going to go up to my select menu at the top, and there is a great select tool called subject. All right, it uses all sorts of, oh, let's try that again. I don't know why I got that error. All right, so I select the subject, and you can see that it does a little bit of thinking, and it like selects all the way around your model. So if you found that you tried your best to get a clear sky, but there's a fence in the background or lamp post or whatever it is, there's a way to get rid of it. So I've got a selection of my model here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command, Shift, and I, and that's going to invert my selection. So now the marching ants are going around everything around the whole background, and avoiding my model. And what I'm going to just do is I'm going to hit delete. All right, when I bring delete up, you want to navigate to make sure that the content is white, and hit OK, and now I have a white background. All right, now these images, you'll notice, work best with a black and white image. So from here, you are going to Command D to deselect, and you have a couple ways to turn this into black and white. First up, you can go into your adjustments panel on the right hand side over here, and can navigate into your black and white and turn it into a black and white. Right, and so I've got a black and white adjustment layer, and I can then adjust this as well, the sliders, to tweak my black and white. And then when I'm ready for it, I go to my layers panel and open that menu and flatten the image. So now I have a black and white image ready for double exposure. Okay, this one here is already done. It's already black and white, and it's got a white background. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another image. So I'm going to try, say, the tree. All right, so I'm going to come over to my tree that's open in another tab, and I'm selecting the whole thing by hitting Command and A. Then I'm going to hit Command C to copy that entire image, and click back over to my portrait and go Command V. Now your two images might be this different size, like they are here, right? So you can see my tree is much bigger than the image of my portrait. So I'm going to have to kind of match them in size a little bit more. So I can go into Edit and Transform. The shortcut for that is Command T. And I'm going to grab a corner and drag it smaller and resize it. So I'm going to try to overlap this tree with my my model here, and kind of align it where I see like his body, and I can see the tree trunk, and it's going to kind of align it there. And then when I'm happy with that kind of position, I double click, Okay, so at the moment I've got, you can see in the layers panel, I've got two layers now. I've got the model in the background, and then I've got another, the tree layer over top, all right? And here's where the magic happens. So I'm going to change the blending mode of my top layer by clicking on this menu right here where it says normal, and I'm going to go down to screen. All right, so you can go to screen, any of these four work, and they get different kind of choices. All right, so lighter color is also really, really cool. Take a look at that. Or lighten, or screen, just like so. And then change the blending mode. Then all of a sudden, you've got this cool overlap of the model and the tree. All right. One thing I can do is, if I want to darken that a little bit, I'm going to go to my adjustments and to my curves, and I'm going to grab that curve right in the middle, and I'm going to pull it down a little bit. All right. And now notice what happens to that. If I hide the eye of this adjustment layer, this is before, and that's after. So it's just a bit nicer contrast. And there you have it, right? You can play with that kind of placement, and overlay different images, and have a lot of fun with it. All right, so just a few more things. So I've got 3 different layers here. Now, if I want to save it as a JPEG to go back to putting it into your portfolio, once the edit is done, you're going to go back to your layers menu and flatten your image so all your edits are together, smushed together, and then you're going to save as your final. Usually I go black and white portrait, and then I'll say edit. So I remind myself that that's the edit version, and when I'm saving it as JPEG, I always bring the slider right to the maximum and hit OK. And there you go. So now you have an awesome edit over top. A couple other things I want to show you before I let you go. So here I've got another demo image here. I've got this guy with a hat. And here I've got an image of clouds, right? So here's just a different kind of look for it. This one, in this case, hasn't been converted to black and white. And I just wanted to show you what the results would be. So I'm going to go Command A to select that whole image, Command C to copy that whole image. Now going over to this model right here, and I'm going to Command V to paste. Again, it's a different size than my other image, so I'm going to go Command T, and I'm going to grab the corner and reposition it. Okay, so there you go. So I've got kind of repositioned, overlapped over top of this model here, and it's kind of covering the entire image. And then, as simple as go to that blending mode, switch down to one of these images, and you can kind of play with your different blending mode. All right, there's screen right there. That's lighten. Lighter color is also quite cool. I think I'm going to go to screen, and then go to the adjustments to darken that top layer again. So I'm going to go to my curves adjustment layer, and I'm going to grab the middle of this line and drag it and pull it down just a little bit. There we go. So there, the top image is not black and white, and it still has a really, really cool effect, right? So that's another option for you. So I'm going to go to my layers panel, flatten image, and I've got a double exposure. So it's a lot of fun. Give it a try. You need 2 images that are high key, i.e. with a white background for it to work, especially the one with the model, and give it a shot.